Hey, welcome back to another edition of Technique Tuesday. This week we're going to be looking at some different, really basic stretching exercises. Stretching is a huge part of your workout. It's part of your recovery. It helps your muscles become bigger and stronger. And it's just a great way to finish off a good workout, whether you're in the gym or running on a track or doing some dry land in the field. A lot of people make the mistake, and I mentioned this before, make the mistake of stretching as part of their warm up. While there are some good things that stretching does, it's most effectively used at the end of a workout. A dynamic warm up is going to be your best bet for starting out a workout. And the reason for that is that stretching stretches out your muscles. Again, it aids in recovery and does all this other good stuff. But what it doesn't do is activate your mobility in the way that you need it to be for a lot of your lifts or a lot of your workouts, and it doesn't elevate your heart rate at all, right? So again, really important, but best used at the end of a workout.
Okay, I always like to start stretching with the top of my back and my neck. So we'll lean our head forward a bit, roll it to the side. Everything we're going to be doing today is nice and slow. We shouldn't be making any jerking movements or anything like that. We're just rolling it from side to side, pausing for a couple breaths at each place. It will stretch out your neck and release some headaches, and then definitely works on the beating of your posterior chain. In that same seated position, we're going to put our hand behind us and lean over to one side, bend that elbow, get a nice good stretch on your side. This will stretch out your traps, lats, obliques, but most of all, your lower back muscles, which can be really tight just from tightness in your shoulders or even in your quads or hamstrings. Those muscles are really small and long, and so it's easy for them to be sore from other muscles just pulling on them. All right, so we'll stick one leg out, pull the other one in. This will stretch your hamstrings, but also your lower back, and a little bit of your upper back with getting that arm over top. If you can't reach your foot all the way with your bottom arm, feel free to just go to mid calf, or if you can, try to make that huge stretch. But again, don't be outside your comfort zone, and there's no need to try to jerk to reach that foot. So we'll switch it up here. Like I said a couple seconds ago, stretching that lower back is huge for pretty much all lifters. If you're having a lot of lower back pain, it's most likely because you're really tight in your shoulders or your hamstrings, or your technique is off. Okay, so we'll start stretching our glutes, and then we'll stretch out our spine all the way around. So just giving yourself a good old knee hug here. And then we'll hold that. Sometimes I like to roll back and forth. Then we'll do a little twist. Again, working that posterior chain, hand behind you, head looking back, keeping everything in line there. Hold that for a couple breaths, and then we will switch. A lot of people say, oh, you want to stretch, for 20 to 30 seconds. I prefer to do, and I'm not really showcasing it in this video, but I prefer to stretch, for 5 or 6 long breaths, and then, switch and probably rotate through that 2 or 3 times. So feet out in front of us, we'll reach over, grab our toes. If you can't reach that far, go to mid calf and pull yourself in. This is a great stretch, and a lot of athletes will do it with their legs apart, so you can get more of a hip flexor stretch as well. Butterfly, feet together, pull them as close as you can. Some people will rock back and forth, but you can also lean forward, try to get those elbows on the ground, or even reach all the way out with your arms. Remember, we want to do everything, within our comfort zone, so I'm just showing you some stuff that I'll do. Reaching over the side, just like before. I like to do this stretch in a couple different ways because in this position, we'll be able to stretch our hip flexor a little bit more than previous, which is always a good idea because the lower back and the hip flexor are the gateway to your upper and lower muscle systems. Here we have a figure 4, lying on your back, cross your ankle over your opposite knee, grab your knee all the way through. If you can't quite reach that, feel free to go underneath your knee between your calf and your hamstring. This one will stretch your calf, hamstring, hip flexor, lower back, glute, quad. Really just a great, leg stretch. So again, just hold it for a couple breaths or seconds, whichever method you choose. And there you go. All right, we'll go just sitting down on your legs. This one will stretch your hamstrings, your calves, quads, and then most importantly, your ankles. I think that's huge for, especially for swimmers, but for all athletes to stretch out your ankles. Going into a little child's pose, you can really stretch out your lower back. Then we'll go over the top again, or out to the sides. I think this one's huge for stretching your lower back, especially because that's a problem area for just about everybody. Next up, we'll do a little biker stretch. So front leg out at 90, back leg back at 90. This one really works your hip flexors and your glutes. Again, if you want to stretch your back out a little bit more, every exercise feels like we can do that. You can just lean forward. Great one about this, it's easy to change to the next position is you just rotate your hips and shift your knees a bit. Stretching out our arms and shoulders, we'll have the classic arm across chest. You want to make sure you have it high enough to where you're stretching your shoulder and a bit of your lat. It's a little bit different for everybody. You can get more of a lat stretch if you twist as well, but you don't want to have it in such a position where you are pulling on your shoulder. All right, this one really straps your triceps, biceps, and lats. You want to have yourself in a position where you're not curled over and you can still breathe and sort of look straight up. Now we'll work a little bit more of the hip flexor, so we'll just lean forward. This one, stretch your calf as well. So it's a great little exercise here. If you want a little bit more, you can pull up your back leg. I'm not flexible enough to do that right now, but it works your balance and a little bit more of your quad and glute, hamstring. So I think I'm going to fall over on this one, but we'll give it another shot to grab the back leg. Again, you never want to jerk or do anything like that while stretching. Last one, this is a frog stance. So if you can get your heels on the ground, that's great. If you can't, you can stand up a little bit more, but it's great for your glutes, hamstrings, quads. It's great for balance.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, thanks for tuning in, and make sure you work with us next Tuesday for our next Technique Tuesday. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message or comment. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.